I remember first coming up with the melody, not having the words yet, but the melody for Spin My Life.
Yeah.
Now that right there, I was like, wow, that's strong.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it answered the question.
Yeah.
And then it comes together. Ooh, that's classic and like almost lullaby-ish.
Yeah.
So when I thought of that, I was like, that's special. Let me, knowing that one element of that is super special, let me not get too ethereal with the production. Let me figure out what is that melody saying to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, as soon as I started singing that melody, it felt like a wedding march.
Yeah.
A black wedding march.
That
Black
is...
wedding marches are different than white wedding marches. So
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk? R&B.
What's up? What's up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn, the R&B ambassador. Listen, I apologize for the interruption, but I need you guys to help us continue to grow this channel. We're doing such a fantastic job growing, bringing you amazing content from some of our favorite R&B artists and contributors. I need you to do this one little thing: like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe is key. Also, hit the notification bell. This will help us to continue to bring more and more fantastic artists to the platform. So with that said, this is a continuing conversation. Can we talk R&B? Now back to the show. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn. Welcome to another episode of the Can We Talk R&B podcast. And I have a bona fide legend in the building. He's been making noise, just impacting R&B at the highest level for, I don't want to put his age out there, for 20 plus years. This guy has been a major influence on myself and so many other R&B lovers. We have none other than 4-time Grammy nominated super R&B vocalist extraordinaire, Mr. Eric Benet.
wow.
In the building. What's good?
Man, I love that intro, man.
Come on, man. That's straight off the heart. That's straight off the out the chest.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here, making the time out your schedule.
My pleasure.
To come down to New Orleans and sit with your boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, this show is really a love letter to R&B fans. So we want to have conversations with people like yourself, legends, contributors to R&B music across the board, just, you know, giving us, I guess, a behind the curtain feel of your songwriting process, of the musical journey. And you've been impacting R&B for so long. My first question is, do you still love it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is an immediate, visceral yes. I mean, I'm always going to love music. I'm always going to love the craft of making music and the elusive, I don't know where it comes from, mystery of it.
Sure.
That will never cease to bring me joy and be amazing. But you know, I'm not necessarily gonna love the music business.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, man, I love every aspect of the creative branch of my life tree that's music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from Milwaukee,
Yeah.
you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know that Milwaukee's known for putting out, you know, a bunch of soul singers. We can think about the Midwest for sure.
Yeah.
You know, Detroit,
Yeah.
Ohio, you know, Chicago.
Yeah.
When we think about Milwaukee, I can't personally think about, besides producers, but I can't personally think about any artists. Like, tell me how you know, where'd you get that from? Like, what sparked that? Coming from
That's a
that
good
area.
question. I think the Midwest in general, like you said, Milwaukee isn't exactly known for, you know, spawning like a bunch of vocalists and this, that, and the other. But the Midwest itself, there's something happening there. It's like an amalgamation of the influences of the East, which is has historically been a very different sound.
Sure.
Regardless of the genre, it's a different sound. The West Coast, So it's a definitive sound,
Yeah.
regardless of the genre, whether it's rock, whether it's, you know, Orange County rock, whether it's hip hop, whether it's, you know, jazz. It's different, and clearly different in the South.
Right.
So in the Midwest, you just get this gumbo, for lack of a better, since we're in New Orleans, of influences of all, but then our own little thing on it. And so when I think of Milwaukee and singers that have made it to notoriety, I immediately think of Al Jarreau.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
I think of Speech from Arrested Development.
Come on.
You know, I think of Tank.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think
Where's Tank? I thought Tank was from the DMV.
man, he trying to, you know, come on, own up to your Milwaukee roots, Tank.
Come on.
Big swole ass. But but no, so it's interesting. Like that Midwest thing is very and each one of those artists that I just described, you know, for instance, Speech from Arrested Development. When they came out, it was like, wow, this is hip hop, but it's a whole new feel and vibe of it. Al Jarreau came out. Wow, what the hell is he? Is he jazz? Is he R&B? Is he interpretive? Whatever the hell.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
A true artist.
yeah. And I think there's that Midwestern proclivity to just be like, yo, I'm gonna make my own statement.
Yeah.
So I think that from my perspective as an artist, I think I'm that's pretty indicative of like my approach from my first solo album.
Yeah.
Like you got to remember, it was like in the 90s when I had my first solo project, and there were very distinctive things that were successful in the black music world in the 90s. And if you didn't do it, I mean, it was New Jack, it was, you know, or it was, I don't know, or it was either like New Jack swing, or it was like straight ahead R&B of the time, or it was very ethereal kind of chakras and, you know, incense type vibe, right? And I think for me, I was like, no, I want to make my R&B based on those feelings I got when I was 8 years old or 5 years old, and I would listen to Gino Vanelli, or I would listen to Bobby Caldwell, or I would listen to Earth, Wind and Fire, or I would listen to an old Cameo record.
Yeah.
You know, there was like there's a feeling. There's a definitive feeling that I identified with that I equate to live instrumentation. I equate to not necessarily trying to jump on the bandwagon of anybody else.
Specific sonics.
Yeah, because those artists that did that for me, that gave me that feeling, those goosebumps, that the wide-eyed, wow, this music feels incredible. They were the artists who were just marching at the beat of their own drums, like the Steely Dans, or you know, like I said, Gino Vanelli, or Rufus with Shaka Khan.
Come on.
Like, you know, so
it's interesting you mentioned that, because when I listen to your music, I mean, back from, you know, late 90s, I mean, your music was, because you use a lot of live instrumentation and the style of production, and I think about the timeline of the type of artists that were out. It was so many male R&B artists. And I know that landscape was very, very competitive. But you had your own sound, your own lane, even carved in that. Like, you leaned some that some may consider neo soul, but it was soul. And then you had some that was just, obviously, some of your bigger records that went more mainstream. Were you know, just pure production in terms of I guess the new sonics of the time. But it was always a bridge. It didn't feel exclusively like, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire, or exclusively like this, but it was just this perfect marriage.
Yeah, you could feel the influences of it.
Absolutely. But your vocal style was always, you know, when I'm always ranking vocalists, you're always in that elite category.
Wow, thank you.
Of male vocalists.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, because everybody ain't on that level.
Thank you, sir.
You know?
Thank you.
Yeah. So coming from that, okay, so in Milwaukee, these influences, like, take us back to when you first got into the music business. Like, what led to that? You mentioned 8 years old, you fell in love with that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think like many children of proud Black parents, I just wanted to make them proud, right?
Sure.
So I kind of like after high school, you know, went to college not really knowing. I mean, I had my own ideas of what I wanted to do, but and of course, like a lot of 18, 19-year-olds, like you have these dreams. You're not exactly sure on the path to get there.
Yeah.
But everybody's telling you, well, first you got to go to college. And since you're hearing it so often, it's like, well, shit, I guess I better go to college. And then I went to university in Milwaukee for a couple years and just felt like, I don't really know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And it was right around the time where my cousin George, who had started kind of playing keyboards and doing some things with this local band in Milwaukee, and they were a very successful local band, not signed or anything, but the type of band where if there's like a big club, if there is a music scene in your town and there's that band that's always playing at the big club, that was the band in Milwaukee, and they were called Gerard. And my cousin called me and he was like, yo, Gerard, they're looking for a new male lead singer. And my cousin George was like,
how old were you then?
I was like 20, 21,
okay,
20. Gotcha. I was going to college for a couple years and farting off. I'm like, yo. So my cousin was like, yo, why don't you come audition for this band? Because here's the thing, they own like a little recording studio.
Gotcha.
And you got to remember, this is like, I don't know, what, 88, something like that. So
that's a big deal.
So it's not like today where if you got a laptop,
that's right,
you got Pro Tools, you got a couple like virtual plugins.
That's right.
You got way more than we had.
We can do a session right now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. So they got a recording studio? Yeah. And so the strategy was join the band, sing the top 40 songs, because they weren't really doing too many originals. They were doing whatever was hot on the radio.
Yeah.
Do the wedding gigs or the bars in Racine and Waukegan, Illinois, or Fargo, North Dakota. You know, it's like a 3-state radius where this band would just be killing it, making money. And so I joined the band. I auditioned for the band, got the gig, and my sister joined the band too.
Okay.
So yeah. So on the off days,
that was like an R&B, BB, and CC.
Yeah, well, the actual group, Gerard, was less of a R&B group, and they were just more of a, like I said, like a top 40 radio group.
Gotcha.
Cover band. Yeah. So they would do everything from like Cyndi Lauper to Bobby Brown.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So
selling out the wedding singer, because wedding singers doing all that kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So basically, trying to make this like super long and involved story short. On the off days, my cousin and myself and my sister, we would write songs. And eventually those songs were the demo that got us the first record deal, Benet. Yeah.
Nice. So I was aware of that. I was aware of you started out with your sister.
Yeah, my sister Lisa.
Okay. So, but I wasn't, I wasn't sure if that happened until you actually had a deal as a group.
Yeah, so
how that like?
Yeah, so we were in the band, and my cousin George, you know, being very industrious, and he was like, "Yo, there's this R&B convention in Atlanta." I'm going way back. Like some of the old heads out there who's y'all watching this podcast, you gonna remember it, called Jack the Rapper convention.
I remember that, yeah.
You remember Jack the Rapper?
I do.
Man, you ain't old enough to remember no damn Jack the Rapper.
Don't be surprised.
Man. So we submitted our little demo to Jack the Rapper.
Yeah.
and my sister and I did a little showcase, which that in itself was just like culture shock, right? Because up until that point, I never really met no celebrities or nothing like that. I was just doing my top 40 band thing in the Midwest. We go to Jack the Rapper. Oh, wow, that's Cool in the Gang right there. Oh my God, there's Russell Simmons. I walk up to Russell Simmons. Hey, what's up, sir? He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it was just like, it was pretty wild just to see all these people that I've been watching on Donnie Simpson's Video Soul,
That's
like right there live and in person. And so we did our little showcase, and eventually the tape of our little demo and the recording of our showcase got to this young lady who had just landed an A&R deal at EMI Records named Allison Ball. Okay. Fresh out of college, got her a little A&R situation. Yeah. And she signed my sister and I to EMI. Wow. We were Benet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened as to why, because I call myself, I don't want to say I am an expert, but I'm 1000% a student, and I know a lot about R&B music.
Yeah.
So coming from, what year is this?
So now we talking about like 91.
Okay. So that was my wife just walked in here, just so you know. I just saw saw that beauty in the corner. I'm like, hold on, she went right there. This nigga. No, so in terms of from that time, okay. First of all, being a brother-sister group, you got the deal. What happened as to why you guys split? Because I was first introduced to you, I want to say around 96, 97.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
And I'm saying split. It's your sister.
No. I mean, it's my sister. So that's a great question. So every sibling has their own distinct personality.
Absolutely.
Lots of similarities, but also lots of uniqueness within every sibling. And I was always well, let me put it this way. My sister, Lisa, has always been the planner, everything needs to make sense in her life in order to go from step A to step B. And if step C doesn't make sense, then she gonna hang out at step B for a little while. I'm kind of the opposite sibling. Okay. I'm like, yo, there's some firemen outside that window that are holding a net. I'm like, oh, that's fun. So I'll go I'll just take the chance.
You're the gunslinger.
I'm the gunslinger.
Yeah.
And so we did the Benet album, and that was a crash course on the reality of the music business.
Sure.
That was a crash course on let's hype you up for the next. We got a deal. We're gonna be rich and famous, and everybody at the building at EMI is hyping us up. You guys are gonna be this, that, and the other, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're almost writing checks for the houses we're gonna buy and the money we're gonna make. Yeah. And then EMI kind of sort of releases the first single, and the first single doesn't fly, and they pull the plug.
Wow.
Right. And so we were like, wait.
Don't even give it a chance.
Wait. And my sister, she had a pretty good job that she quit to fly out to LA, because we spent a lot of time in LA, like working on that album.
Sure.
And all the while, by the way, I'm getting numbers of producers and engineers, and I'm getting my Rolodex like fat.
Yeah.
So, but Lisa, being the practical one, she was like, wait, little brother, you mean to tell me I quit my job? We came out here, spent like what, six months out here in LA, and they halfway put out a damn single, and then they say that's all she wrote?
Come on.
I'm out. And Lisa was like very practical. Yeah. And she was like, this music business, you can have it. And she got her job back with stability, good job, and this, that, and the other.
She went back and got that.
She went back and got that job back. Yeah. And then I was bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
And I had my Rolodex.
Yeah.
And I had my numbers, and I had my relationships that I had built, and I'd seen, I mean, this is going to sound cocky, but I had seen way less talented people than me
Talk your
in
shit.
the flesh
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, so it's not so much a matter of talent. It's a matter of relationships and connecting the dots out in the city.
That's right.
So when I had to go back home. By this time, I was a single dad. So I had to go back home. I had to get a job. I was at UPS, and then I was also working as an assistant engineer in a recording studio in Milwaukee. Being daddy, still taking trips out to LA to reinforce those relationships that I built. And as I was working in this recording studio in Milwaukee, whenever there was nobody booked in the session, I would be in there making demos.
Yeah.
I'd be in there making demos with my cousin George, making demos with another guy from Milwaukee named DeMonte Posey.
Yeah.
And those demos,
Yeah.
basically, by that time, Allison had left EMI, was now A&Ring at Warner Brothers.
Come on.
And so I was like, Allison, I kind of checked this demo out.
Yeah.
Boom. She's like, oh my God, this is great. By this time, we talk about 95.
Yeah.
That was my first solo album.
Yeah.
That demo was pretty much my first solo album at Warner Brothers.
I remember back at that time when that album came out.
True to myself.
I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember, again, you had Brian McKnight.
Yeah.
You had, I think Kenny Lattimore might have been just coming out.
Yeah. Kenny was killing it.
Yeah, he was just coming out.
Yeah.
And so I was a wedding singer. So I was always singing.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so I was always singing everybody's wedding songs.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. But I remember when you came out, and you know, back then people would say, "Man, you look like there was."
We could be cousins.
Yeah. They said you look like this guy Eric Benet knew art. That's actually how it was. A girl in high school. I remember her giving me a tape.
Tape. I noticed you said
it was a tape. You heard it.
was a
And I
tape.
said that intentionally. Yeah.
That's right.
So she gave me a tape. This was around 95, 96.
Yeah.
I had just got a CD player, but it had.
Wow,
it
you
still
was
had-
balling.
Oh, I was up. we ain't gonna go into that. I was up
Right.
at that time.
Right.
But I did. It had a tape deal on it. But my point is, I remember that project very well.
Yeah, man.
You know, so that goes to talk about, I guess, the impact that you've had in that regard. So, that album comes out. Now you're really feeling
Yeah.
the energy of what's going on because you
Yeah.
had some big records on there.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How that spiraled out.
Well, that was really interesting. That was the same way being plucked from the obscurity of Milwaukee to get to be in the city of angels amongst celebrities and to be walking into these parties where all this stuff is like happened, to be at the grocery store and look behind you and it's like somebody like, I don't know, Burt Reynolds just buying some toilet paper. I'm like,
That's
Lisa, that's Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
You know, like crazy stuff like
Yeah,
that, like
yeah.
surreal stuff like that. So that weirdness being elevated on a global scale now. So with my True to Myself album, at this point, I'm able to go somewhere like Tokyo
Yeah.
that I've only, obviously, like everybody else, I've only seen in movies
Yeah.
and I got to read subtitles to know what's happening, to performing my song in front of these people who don't speak English,
Come on.
but they are phonetically singing all of my lyrics,
Come on.
emoting with all this feeling. And another surreal experience. So I feel like the True to Myself solo album was the introduction. Well, let me put it this way. If the Benet record was my introduction to the music industry, then the True to Myself album was like my introduction to the world, to the globe. Because I would be in France, I'd be in Germany, and it'd be the same type of thing. It'd be like, this is wild, man.
I guess even more or less your introduction to celebrity.
Yeah, I think you could say that.
Yeah.
And
Because people know you now.
yeah, beginning to.
Beginning to know.
I think with the True to Myself album, you had to be an R&B aficionado
Yeah.
to know who I was. Because on the True to Myself album, I didn't have a #1 song. I had a couple songs that if you love and you live R&B, you'd be like, oh, that cat is kind of dope.
But that's what the 90s were.
Yeah.
That's the 90s was. You an R&B fan?
Yeah.
I can tell you so many artists that I found out about that came and went.
Yeah.
I love their albums to this day.
Yeah.
That's just what it was in the 90s.
It truly was. It truly was. There were artists, and I shoot, I'm almost embarrassed to say now that I can't, the names don't come to me, but I can like kind of hear the songs and I can see the face. And
I'll name one guy.
Yeah.
Remember Myron? Myron.
Myron.
I think it was from Detroit. He had that song Destiny. Gotta be destiny. You remember that?
Now that hook is kind of familiar.
Well, again.
Yeah.
Came and went.
Yeah. And it was a lot like
Yes.
that, where it's like, oh, you got a cool little vibe, or
Crazy.
you got a cool little thing. And in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
I was aware of that.
Yeah.
So in the back of my, and I was, it's kind of like the PTSD of the whole Benet thing.
Absolutely.
I'm consciously aware that, oh, they could pull the plug on this at any moment.
That's right.
So I think there was a desire for me to figure out how to ensure, or have some type of insurance that, okay, I hope they give me a budget for another record.
Yeah.
And somehow translate that hope into, I'm gonna make sure they give me a budget for another record. And by the time I turned my album in, the only thing that I can do to kind of sort of underscore that insurance was have conversations with people in the industry who I kind of bonded with. Like there were a couple radio promo people who had been in the business for a while, and I would have conversations with them like, yo, tell me, like, I know how this works, like, and I know I've yet to get a #1 single off this album yet, like, so what do I got to do to make sure that at least I get a budget for album #2?
Yeah.
And the truth of that conversation was, unfortunately, bro, it's not in your, if I'm gonna be real with you,
Yeah.
it's not in your hands.
That's right.
Because the suits upstairs, they just gonna be looking at analytics and numbers.
That's right.
And if it happens, don't take it personally. But let me tell you what I would advise you to do. Which was their instruction to me was very natural for me, because it was kind of what I was doing anyway.
Sure.
It was like, every assistant you meet, if you have a meeting with an executive, make sure you're cool with the assistant.
Come on.
Every radio station you go to, make sure you remember who that program director is. Find out when their birthday is. Like, give them a call sometime. In other words, the advice was, be human.
Yeah.
Be human, so that when the time comes for that axe to fall, maybe there's going to be some people in that room fighting for you.
That's golden right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That applies in any
in
business.
every aspect of life.
That's right.
Because especially when you're young, you think, whether you're in sports or whether you're in hip hop or whether you're some political pundit, you might be thinking, oh man, ain't nobody got nothing on me.
Yeah.
I can rest assured that, shoot, I'm gonna be here for the next 2 years. Nah, bro.
Yeah.
No, you got to make sure that you stay humble, and you always make sure that people see you as somebody who's grateful.
Absolutely.
And I honestly think that's why I got a second shot, because I did everything that I felt like I could do, and maybe it was because of that. Partly, greatly because of the music, but there were certain pockets of the country that, even though I didn't have a #1 song, there were a couple cities that it looked like there was some diehard Eric Benet fans.
Yeah.
And that was like in Oakland.
Oh yeah.
And in like DC.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple pockets were supporting me too, but those two places, DC and Oakland, it was like, if they're just looking at sheer numbers, it would make sense. Look, something is building here.
Yeah.
So let's give them another shot. So they let me.
That's kind of, to that point, my problem with the music business, because again, it's a business. So I understand analytics. We're trying to sell records, trying to make money. But me as a truist and a fan of just good music, sometimes not having a number one, that doesn't mean that song isn't a hit record, right?
Agreed.
So in that respect, I have conversations with everyone. Like I mean, a lot of your peers, my friends, super producers, and when we're talking, they're playing a record for me, and then I'm like, you want my honest opinion, how much I love the song, or is this a hit? These are two different things.
Yeah.
So when I say how your music, again, even the ones that weren't quote number one hits,
Yeah.
how impactful they were, I'm just listening to it from a pure place.
Yeah.
And that's
well, you're a musician.
But even I am a musician, true. But before, even the people who are around me who aren't musicians,
Yeah.
they were responding the same way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, and I would be the guy that they come to and ask their opinion because I'm an expert because I play music. But overall, you know, as a musician, it's one of those things. It's like, I understand what's happening here. You mentioned the band,
Gerard.
They're rocking every night, every weekend, playing other people's music, but they're jamming. And people are coming to see them play these records because from a pure standpoint. So I'm saying, when I say my problem with the business is you make music from a pure place.
Yeah.
But then you have to try to make a business out of that record.
That's the evolution.
Yeah.
That's the evolution. You get the record deal because of your passion for the craft, whatever the craft is. You have longevity because you've figured out how to mesh the passion for the craft with whatever the climate of the business is at that point.
Yeah.
So, you know, you mentioned, I can't remember if we were rolling at that point, but you mentioned that, yeah, I had these songs that resonated in this, I forget the words you mentioned, but it was like more of a live music, just R&B expressive place. But then there were a couple other songs that were clearly commercial.
Sure.
And I think the songs that were clearly commercial was probably me going, all right, I want to make sure I get a third budget up in this mud scratcher.
For sure.
So I think Spin My Life was one. It's interesting. I'm trying to put myself back into that moment when I was first coming up with Spin My Life. And you can't say that when you're first coming up, well, I'll speak for myself because maybe there are songwriters who can do this, who can say, okay, I'm going to sit down at this piano right now and I'm going to write me a number one song. Now, whoever that is, they
gotta be Babyface, right?
It gotta be because he's done it over and over and over again.
It gotta be him, right?
Or Dolly Parton, or Diane Warren. You know, but I can't do
maybe
that.
David Foster too, but
David Foster too. But now I can't do that. But what I can do is while I'm writing a song, those emotions and those goosebumps, if they hit a certain way, I'm feeling like, ooh, this feels kind of like something super special.
Yeah.
And so when we got the budget for album number 2 at Warner Brothers, I remember first coming up with the melody, not having the words yet, but the melody for Spin My Life.
Yeah.
Now that right there, I was like, wow, that's strong.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it answered the question.
Yeah.
And then it comes together. Ooh, that's classic and like almost lullaby-ish.
Yeah.
So when I thought of that, I was like, that's special. Let me, knowing that one element of that is super special, Let me not get too ethereal with the production. Let me figure out what is that melody saying to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, as soon as I started singing that melody, it felt like a wedding march.
Yeah.
A black wedding march.
That
Black
is-
wedding marches are different than white wedding marches. So, because black people
Talk
walk
about
down the aisle a
It's a
certain
rock
way.
to it. Yeah.
And so when I started hearing that rhythm, oh, it's a wedding song.
Yeah.
So once that was established, I was like, this could be a dope, super dope, timeless wedding song if I don't try to get too cute and overly creative. Not overly creative, but overly experimental
I
with
get
the
it.
production.
Sure.
If I'm hearing a wedding march, then make sure the drums go boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, like see black people walking down the aisle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just lace it with, you know, if you listen to the song in the first chorus, all those stacked harmonies are me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the groom. I'm making my statement.
Come on.
And if you listen to the second chorus, all those harmonies, that's Tamia.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the last chorus, we come together.
You know what?
So-
Now I didn't sing that song at about 50 weddings. No joke. I never even put that together.
Yeah.
That was formulated in terms of you stacking the harmonies for the first verse, she stacking them in the
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So the first chorus is like my statement of look what I found.
Yeah.
The second verse and chorus is her statement of wow, look what I found. And then in the end we for lack of a better
Climax.
term, we climax.
Yeah.
And we make the statement together.
Absolutely.
So, and it's that kind of thought process where, look, I don't know if this is gonna be a #1 song,
Yeah.
but
You knew it was a #1. You knew it was top
I knew
shit.
I knew it felt like
As
a
soon as you
hit.
finished, yeah, it was definitely.
I knew it felt like a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you've done it one time, because until you've done it, like made a #1 song, it's like everybody got an opinion. Everybody can say, oh, I bet I can write a #1. But until you've actually done it, it's something that's elusive.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, wow, how are they able to do that? And
Yeah.
but then when you've done it,
It's a formula.
yeah, it's almost like a formula. It's like, and even if it is a formula, that formula doesn't have to be static.
Right.
Like if it's another kind of song, okay, I need to construct this in a way that I put the elements together that make sense for that melody. But subconsciously, I need for those elements to resonate with people in a way that they may not even know why they're liking this song so much. Or put some lyrics in there where, wow, I don't even know why that means so much to me. But you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, coming up with that record, Spend My Life. What, like, you come up with this melody, you write this song. What made you reach out to Tamia? Come on.
All right, I'm gonna keep it 100 because she my little sister now.
That's the only way we need to hear it.
And you know,
Hundo.
you know, hey, you my man, 50 grand. But back then, yo, well, that's not entirely true. I didn't even say nothing yet, but you knew what I was thinking. Her voice,
Amazing.
on so many different levels, did exactly what I knew that melody needed to do for that particular song.
Gotcha.
It needed to have a vulnerability, check. It needed to have this emotive urgency, check. It needed to have a vocal dynamic where when it modulates, she got everything in her
Range.
toolbox and range to go way, way on up there.
Yeah.
And so vocally, there are few vocalists that could have done what Tamia did at that time for that record.
That's a fact.
So vocally and talent-wise, she was perfect. Before all that, I mean, shoot.
She was beautiful.
She was gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking, I just want to be in the studio with this girl.
That's right. I mean, so she was the first choice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And that's pretty rare for somebody who hasn't had a #1 hit, but who hadn't had a bona fide hit yet. But fortunately, we were we were in the same building because she was signed to Quincy Jones's label at the time, Quest, I think.
Yep.
And we were all in the same building. So when I sent the demo, which was me singing the song to her, fortunately she loved it. And yeah, she came to the studio and just absolutely annihilated that song. And I remember distinctly, because the way I like to stack I mean, I think it's probably fairly normal now, but back then, on each one of those parts, those vocal harmonies, on each note is probably like six stacks of that
each part.
Yeah, each part. And I remember Tamia being like, "Wait, what? You can't get no background vocals up in?" I was like, "No, it has to be you because the song is saying this." And she fought me on that. But you can't deny them vocals.
Not at all.
That stack, when you hear it, it's like, ooh, it's so heavenly.
Yeah.
And she was so cute because she would do her own little Tamia thing on some of those parts. And me and DeMonte, we were in the studio like, oh my God, did you hear what she just did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, that came together.
Man, that's such a special record. So speaking of that record, so we have a segment and we pretty much went through it. Give me your top 5 wedding songs, because I put that song in terms of wedding songs. It's in that
My
list.
top 5 wedding songs. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. First one that comes to mind is Stevie Wonder's "You and I."
Come on.
Second one that comes is Luther Vandross' "Here and Now."
Oh, yes.
Third one, let's see. Third one, shoot. I mean, it's that comes to mind. I'm just going off the dome. I'm not thinking about it too much. Al Jarreau, "Our Love."
Oh man. I remember that song, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about so fourth song? We need now see, I hear this a different way. Like I hear this, the producer and songwriter in me, I hear it like slowed down. "This Will Be" by Natalie Cole.
Oh man, that's
but I don't hear it like it is. I hear it like, you know, a different tempo.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. And what, a fifth one? How about okay, I'm gonna make a reference that probably a lot of people don't know. But Anne Murray, old Canadian singer, it's a song called "You Needed Me."
Okay. I remember Anne Murray. I can't think of that song.
"You Needed
specifically.
Me." Beautiful song.
Come on.
Yeah.
So when I think about top 5 wedding songs, I think about, you know.
Oh damn! "Spend My Life." Shit.
Well, that's on my list.
Right.
And I can really, in my mind, I go back to like top 5 songs that I've had that people requested me to sing at these random weddings. So "Spend My Life" was always one. "For You," Kenny Lattimore was one.
Kenny, that's my dude.
Yeah.
Of course.
Brian McKnight, "Never Felt This Way" was one.
Yeah.
And "Here and Now,"
Luther.
the Luther joint. Those 4 specifically, I don't know where I would put specifically as number 5, but those 4 have always been highly requested. You know, so when you think about just a normal person, hey, we can't afford to get Eric Benet to come play at our wedding, but Ian, can you come sing at our wedding and sing "Spend My Life"?
Man, you know, go get that check.
You already know it.
Ooh, I thought of another one too.
Yeah.
Another obscure. A lot of people probably don't know a group called Bread.
Okay.
From the 70s. Song is called "If."
Tough.
Come on, man.
I'm gonna have to. I gotta put that in my notes.
Yeah, the group is Bread. The song is "If." Come on.
Come on. All right. So let's switch gears. You having the record with Tamia, "Spend My Life." You have a special way of presenting a record, specifically doing a duet with a woman. So you have a new single out right now that I've been listening to all weekend.
That's awesome.
"Something We Can Make Love To."
Woo!
Come on, with Tamar Braxton.
Man.
Now, a lot of people right now, at least the current climate in the culture, it's a lot of men versus women. It's a lot of discord in a lot of ways on social media.
Explain that.
So on social media, we hear a lot of, we don't, first of all, relationships, we don't hear a lot of championing relationships. It's a lot of bigging up being single, bigging up being independent, and this and this. And for some reason, I feel like in the culture, we've somewhat lost something.
Yeah.
Whatever that special thing that keeps us together, that keeps us building. So something in the culture has been, or just in socially, we're divided.
Yeah.
In some way. So when I hear this song, this one reminds me of being in love.
I love that.
It reminds me of wanting to come home to that special someone.
I love
you
it.
got plans. You know what I mean? So take me on the deep dive of how you came up with that record.
Well, I love that because the comments that I'm seeing, the most reoccurring comment is usually some version of this feels like that old R&B. You know, there's not enough of this out right now.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with you. I cannot take any credit for writing or producing the song. This is a song that happened. My partner and co-owner of the label JBR, we decided that yes, Eric, let's do it. We not just gonna sign a bunch of artists and be record executives. You still Eric Muskrat and Benet.
Yep.
So you need to go do a record, an album, and you need to and we decided that we'll do it differently. We'll do it as a duets project.
Yeah.
Wrote a gang of songs, and I can't wait for people to hear some of the other songs on this record.
Man.
But we also wanted to mix it up and reach out to some of our producer friends who have been enjoying illustrious success over the years.
Sure.
And asking if they would like to participate on this project. And one of the immediate thought was the Stewart brothers, Tricky and Laney.
Come on.
Having so much success over the years, and legends, and starting out when we started out, when I started out, like back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So we went down to Atlanta and we listened to a bunch of stuff. We listened to a song that's going to be featured on the EP. It's called Work It Out. And Laney actually produced a song, and that was, and the lyrics, Fetty the voice, and the dream.
Yeah.
Kind of wrote the lyrics and the melody of this. And immediately when I heard this song, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
My first thought was, this sounds like something I would have written. And so that's immediately how it resonated with me. But then when I took like myself out of the picture and just listened to the song for the song's sake, I was like, this just feels so romantic.
Yeah.
It feels like old R&B. It feels like something where if I put my vocal on it, I would be able to, I would understand it vocally and melodically in the way where I could communicate through the vocal. I don't know who's going to be the female on this, but I know I can do my thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. When we were in Atlanta, I put my thing on it.
Yeah.
Tricky produced the vocal. And as we're thinking about, wow, what female artists are we going to ask to join us on this? And Tricky was like, I know. And he was like, I'm going to call you tomorrow. He called Allison and I the next day with a screenshot of Tamar sitting in his studio, like,
wow.
We're like, yes, that's perfect.
Nice. Another elite vocalist.
Incredible vocalist.
Yes.
And so, because Tamar and I had become friends on the Snoop tour. Snoop did a tour of like a hip hop musical. And he asked me to be a part of it, which was a lot of fun. But that's where I met Tamar. This was like, what is this, 2024 now?
Yeah.
This must have been like 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Or 6 years ago.
Oh, that was your first time meeting?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Was this pre? This might have been pre. When the hell was? When did we blip?
2020.
Yeah, yeah. So it was before the blip.
When we blipped.
Yep. So and Tamar and I
exactly what we
just
did.
on that tour, a lot of memories of her and I just laughing and making jokes and just really getting to know her personality. So when I saw that screenshot of her sitting in the studio, I was overjoyed because I knew she would, even before Tricky sent the vocal, I was like, oh, she finna devour this song. She gonna annihilate it, and she did.
Yeah. Killed that record.
Yeah, she did.
So I know you guys are actually on tour together, right? Is it on,
Not yet.
tour? Okay,
No,
not yet. Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
But you are performing the song.
Yeah, we're supporting the single, and this is the beginning stages of that, right? So we performed the song for the first time like about a week and a half ago in LA at my single release party, which was a lot of fun.
I think I saw some highlights on your story on Instagram.
And we performed it for the second time last night.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
Nice.
It was amazing. And we're having
the video is crazy too.
Yeah, the video is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because we really are just like fun friends,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And so when you're put in a situation where she's got on lingerie and we got to roll around in the bed, it was a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
There was a lot of uncomfortable laughter.
I don't know if you know this, so this is just like barbershop talk, but you know, we always, and I'm saying we, just guys, in my experience, you look at different people in the industry that we've like, man, I wish I had this guy's life. And a lot of guys always say, man, you know who held it down in whatever way? Eric Benet. And I'm like, you have been obviously in marriages, relationships with some of the most beautiful, sought after women in the industry or that people have revered. Has that been something, that you struggled with? Because you are a sex symbol. You are an immediate, a R&B.
Maybe I was a sex symbol.
Well, the reality, we were. I mean, obviously, from being barefoot, from having your shirt off or whatever, just being a good-looking guy. Pause. But in that regard, in the industry, women always Eric Benet. So I'm speaking from this is barbershop talk. Guys always looked at you like, man, this is your experience. Like, can you touch on that? Is that something that what is that?
Yeah, it's always interesting when you're on the outside looking in. I am grateful for my life. I've been blessed in many ways.
Yeah.
I've been blessed with, you are 100% right. I have had the experience of friendships, relationships, touring the world, to having my dreams come true, to finding my purpose, which out of the other stuff that you mentioned, which is flattering, but probably the thing that I feel most blessed in my life is I'm at the age of maturity where I realize that every individual has some special gift.
Yeah.
Whether you realize it or not, you have some talent, some ability that once you tap into it and once you hone it and grab it by the reins, it will take you to quote unquote success, whether that's financial success or whether it's life experience success or notability. Everybody has that special thing within them.
Yeah.
The thing about my life that I feel is worthy of envy is the fact that I found what I'm really good at, and I know how to hone it, and I know how to wield that sword, right? And it breaks my heart. Sometimes sometimes I can meet someone and get to know them.
Yeah.
And I can realize what their gift is, or some version of what, wow, you would be incredible if you did this, or did you ever think about doing this? And that either they reject it, or they don't see it, or they don't embrace it. So, I mean, that's kind of a roundabout way of answering your question, but yeah, I feel like the best thing, one of the most amazing things about my little journey through life is I found out what I'm good at early on.
Yeah.
And while I was stumbling through trying to make that happen, I realized how to course correct so that I could, okay, I think I tapped into what my thing is, but now I need to make this adjustment here, make this adjustment there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm grateful that, I don't know, people may look at my life as something of envy, but
no, for sure.
Everybody has it. It's just everybody hasn't tapped into it.
Sure. And I mean, I'm sure some from an envy standpoint, but more from an aspirational standpoint, or, you know, just being able to tap into the mindset. Because even just listening to what you're saying, a lot of people just don't have or haven't accepted, you know, whatever their gift is in that respect.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, it's like that's probably another gift of mine, where I can get to know somebody.
Yeah.
And I could be like, wow, you don't even really see what you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can have that conversation.
Sure.
It's like, wow, it's tragic.
Sure. Let me ask you, throughout your career, what would you say that you're most proud of?
Career. Okay, that qualified the answer. First thing that comes to mind is when one of my idols, who is almost like a cliche, because every R&B singer, not only R&B singer, but creativity,
Yes.
and redefining a genre. Probably one of my most proudest moments. Well, there's a radio station in Los Angeles, owned by Stevie Wonder,
Right now.
WKJLH. I mean KJLH.
I didn't realize Stevie Wonder
He
on
owned
KJLH.
it, and he's owned it for a long, long time. And when I started to, heat up, KJLH wanted to interview me, and Stevie Wonder was like, "Oh, y'all gonna interview Eric Benet? I want to do the interview."
Come on.
So the fact that Stevie Wonder was like, "Nah, I'm gonna come to my radio station that I'm hardly ever there, but if you're gonna interview Eric Benet, I'm gonna do it." I mean, when you ask the question, that's something that immediately.
No,
comes
that's
to mind.
epic. That's epic.
Yeah, it's pretty epic for me. Yeah, so for me, it's not about a money or an award. It's
Yeah.
like my idol saw me, took time out of his life world to sit down and ask me questions. Like, why do you care what I think?
That's priceless.
Exactly.
I mean, to be honest with you, like this show, I started this show because I love R&B music.
Yeah.
I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm an artist, but ultimately I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, even my team, they say I fan out sometimes. I'm like, I'm fanning out not because of, I don't think no one's like better than me or bigger than me as a person.
Exactly.
I'm fanning out because I love what they contributed, or the offering that they gave to the culture.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I just want to give them their flowers. And I'm humble enough to accept those.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm saying accept. I'm humble enough to give those. And I have no problem doing that. So having someone like yourself here today, I'm here to celebrate you, all you've accomplished.
Man, I appreciate that.
And all you've given to us, to the world, and to the R&B lovers.
Thanks, man.
Across the board. New album, what's coming new?
So our plan is to release an EP of the Duets project.
Okay.
It's all duets. It's myself duets with female artists.
Gotcha.
We will release the duet EP. What is it? When are we gonna do that? Late July? I don't know. August. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
See, I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I don't be knowing shit. So we're gonna release the EP in August. It's gonna be about 5 songs.
Okay.
And as I said before, I was just like writing, working with different producers and writing and in my studio. And so sometime after that, maybe by the end of the year, we're going to release a continuation of that Duets project, which will be a full album. And
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it will be. There's some incredible music on that.
I was on the phone with Tim Kelly the other day.
Yeah.
Tim and Bob.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I'm interviewing I'm having a conversation with Eric Benet. And he's like, man, that's my dude. He said, I think he lives near me because I see him in the grocery store here and there.
For real.
And he said, ask that nigga why we ain't done no music. Producers specifically for R&B music. I mean, his contributions have been crazy. And I think together,
I think eventually it will happen. If there's any explanation of that, it's just because, I don't know, man, like when you get in the creative vibe and it's almost like a proximity thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if I would have seen him at the grocery store on a Wednesday while I was working on this project, I would have been like, yo, Tim, get your ass over here, man. But I ran into...
I am going to submit a demo to Tim.
Yeah.
Let him lace that joker. Send it to you.
Let's
see what happens.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I would love to hear.
We got that on tape, right? Okay. Listen, Eric Benet, man, you've been excellent, man. Thank you for making the time.
Hey, man, thank
coming
you.
out.
Very insightful questions, man.
Yeah, and just talking R&B. Listen, this is an ongoing conversation. So thank you guys for tuning into another episode. But as always, can we talk R&B? Peace. Cut. Sign off.
That's great, man.
Can we talk? Can we talk? Can we talk?